Okay, guys, so Calvin and I are here today. We're chatting. This was something that actually came up with us,
Yeah.
like the other night. I mean, it comes up all the time when we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's this idea of, I've talked about it a bit on the channel before, so it's nothing unfamiliar. Fun decks,
Fun
and
decks.
like, or if not really fun decks, just kind of what is the extent of acceptability
For
when you're
competitive and fun?
when you're like playing. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like you're playing
To
it to your
give you
opponent.
an example of
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened, we were playing the night before or something like that.
Yeah,
I was playing Abyss Actors, and Paul was playing Amazement or something
yeah. I
like
was playing
that.
Amazement. I just built that.
The Amazement deck does nothing.
Yeah, the Amazement deck isn't very great,
My
but
Abyss Actors literally have no cards in there besides Abyss Actor cards. It's literally 40 Abyss Actor cards.
yeah. But so the issue that came up was like Amazement's play Imperial Order.
Imperial Order.
And I know everybody loves this card. It's everyone's favorite thing. They also even play things like There Can Be Only One, which are just bundles of fun as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like raises this weird point of what's like acceptable, if anything at all, when you're kind of trying to play what should be two fun decks against each other, but like one is maybe very trap heavy, and so the traps that are being run are like
Very
Summon
serious
Limit, or There Can Be Only
meta
One,
contenders.
or like, Imperial Order, Anti-Spell Fragrance, something like that. Is that, where do those lines get drawn? And so afterwards we were reflecting on it a bit, and I was like, okay, well, tomorrow I want to play you with my Despia deck.
And I
so
instantly, the moment he said this, I was like, okay, I have to play a better deck.
Yeah,
Than.
yeah, because like visually, just in your mind, something clicks. Like if we talk about Despia, it's like, okay, well, that's a step above Amazement, maybe a couple steps above it. So Calvin's sort of like, okay, I should play hand traps now. I need, I need to play like Ashes, and because when we were playing with Abyss Actors versus Amazement, we didn't have any hand traps in there. But like, Despia also isn't, a top tier deck. It's just a strong rogue deck, we'll say, a pretty viable one.
Because then it also became to like, basically what's the standard of fun? Because I'm like,
Yeah, what would be most
I'm
pleasant?
not going to play traps for dogs. That's not fun. There's 21 trap cards. But now I'm also like, I could play you using Ignister, but if I'm running 16 hand traps in that deck, is that considered a fun deck?
Yeah, it's like how many hand traps should be allowed? Because hand traps have never been, I've said this a million times, I think Ash Blossom is a perfectly fine card when you're sitting at a tournament table. I think there's nothing wrong with Ash Blossom's existence in a tournament table. You paid money, you know how people are here to win, people are going to Ash stuff. It's fine, you can prepare for it, you can expect it. But Ash Blossom really, really quickly saps
lower tier decks?
It will sap the fun out of low tier decks, and just like that.
And there's no fun at that point.
And sometimes like people are just like, oh well. Especially like those, those decks that have to have like a Signet mining type of thing, like they have to like discard or 1-for-1, and it gets ashed, and it's like,
yeah, once they lose
Turnover.
like 2 cards and they just had 5 and then they have 3,
and that's like their summon or whatever for the turn.
they're just not playing.
Turns over, and Ash can really ruin that. But when you're playing Ash against, Drytron or whatever the current top thing is, Sword Soul, any of that, Ash is just, it's expected. It's it's built into like, oh, I have ways around Ash, I can play after Ash. But so hand traps get really sticky too when like the more of them that there are. Like I think like if we're both playing a fun deck and we both have 3 Ash Blossoms in it, I don't think that's particularly bad. But like, what about when you add in like, yeah, I've got 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler, 3 Ghost Bell, 3 Ghost, like, because Larry and Alec were playing the other day, right? And like,
I watched that one.
and Larry, it was like Evil Twins versus Speedroids. Maybe you could say like Evil Twins are like a strong rogue deck. Not like a top 3 type of deck, but pretty strong rogue deck. Speedroids maybe a like weaker rogue deck. But as decks go, both should be within the same tier of like playability. But the thing is,
saw what was in those decks.
but then like when you look into the decks and like remember like, okay, well, Evil Twins can run a pretty slim little monster lineup and like 12 or 15 hand traps or something if they want to. And then like someone gets hand trapped 3 different times in one turn.
Larry opened 4.
Yeah, 4 hand traps.
And 1 Live Twin, Evil Twin monster.
Yeah.
That's it.
The one combo start thing.
Heroes are not playing, especially like in those like more budget fun builds was like, I'm not trying to make crazy unbreakable boards. I'm just trying to make speed roar monsters. That's it.
Yeah, like Speed Roar is like just the crystal wing stuff, like
Yeah,
that's kind of
so,
the on theme stuff. And so it's weird because it's like, is that like wrong of someone to play the hand traps? Not really. There's no moral obligation to do anything. But everyone at this table can tell the moment like it isn't. Like you kind of
yeah,
know.
you can literally see the fun just leave
Yeah,
someone's
you can see like
face.
the light kind of leaves people's eyes. Like, oh well.
Yeah, because they literally just really can't make another.
Yeah, you can't like
play.
make any moves. Like they just kind of lost all their cards. And that's just the hand trap conversation. I mean, that's still ignoring the Imperial Order
The
thing.
Imperial Orders and all
floodgates
the
in
other
general. Traps in
continuous
general.
Trap cards, yeah.
Because like traps kind of had that period of Yu-Gi-Oh where they died, and like they're back, but the traps you play now are like
A lot
they're
more
obnoxious. Right? Like
You just about ran Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strike, Torrentals.
yeah, and it's like those have always been strong cards, but it feels like something about the way Yu-Gi-Oh works now.
Well, you commit a lot more.
Where like someone gets
Once a runner hurts.
committed, that like these single little traps can hurt a bunch, and then those floodgates. Like floodgates
All
are just
continuous traps are pretty much
floodgates
just-
are brutal. But like amazement sucks, so it's okay, right? Like they suck, but like even if they suck, if Imperial Order's in the field and like there can be only one,
Then they become extremely
then
good.
suddenly they're a lot worse
horrible
too.
plays.
And so it's just I don't know. Like you know how there's that new thing, the new tournament formats that Konami is supposed to kind of be talking about. Common charity.
Time Wizards.
You know, like one of them is what is it called? Heart of the Underdog,
Yeah.
where the locals picks what's like. I want your opinion on this. The locals picks like what meta decks aren't allowed. How do you like? I feel like that's like a recipe for a disaster.
Because I don't think it's necessarily the decks you pick. I think it's going to be the singles that you
Yeah,
don't
I think
pick.
like you can remove some like we know that some decks are better than others. That's no question. But I think that you're right. That just removing the decks is part of it.
I think you have to remove singles.
But I think certain staples just got to go.
Yeah, they
because
just have to go.
Ash is brutal. Another one, evenly matched is one of my. Evenly matched is
will blow you out.
nasty against like these like low tier 2, tier 3. Evenly matched just like ruins days. But like so do trap cards. So you should evenly match it.
Because like I said, it's going to be hard to consider what's a fun deck at that point.
It's almost like I think in Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays, and this might be painting in broad strokes, but I kind of feel like both people can't have fun. Like, I just don't think both players get to have fun.
Someone has to lose.
Like it's not even someone has to suffer. Like, right? Like, because it's always been like someone will win, someone will lose at the end of the day. But these days, the nature by which you lose always feels so like nasty. Like it's either just, it's not enough to just beat your opponent. You kind of got to like make sure that they couldn't have tried in any way. Like they can't play. So whenever you're like playing, these trap cards, just flipping trap after trap, and they're really strong and they really hurt, your opponent's like getting just frustrated because they're not able to get anything done. And so people might argue, well, okay, you're literally not letting me play. So it's not that you're like outplaying me. It's that like, you're not letting me play.
You're negating
like, you don't
everything.
get to do anything. But then it's like, well, if you didn't do that, they would just go crazy.
Yeah, they would just
and make
go
like 3 or
rampant.
4 negates and these monsters that can't be targeted and can't be destroyed.
Then I literally
and
can't
then
play.
you don't get to play. And so it just feels like sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh, like someone's got to suffer. Someone's got to like accept that they're not going to get to fully enjoy their deck. So I don't know. I mean, like, is that harsh to say? I don't know. Is that?
I mean, when I'm sitting down trying to have fun, I can't have fun and enjoy myself, then probably so.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's just like that's modern Yu-Gi-Oh though, right? Like that's kind of where we.
The no fun zone.
Is there fun that can exist, and what does it look like? What does fun look like? Like when if such a thing.
Fun looks like those draft.
Those sealed draft duels.
That's where you have your fun at.
Like the speed duel boxes and
Yes.
like the battle pack.
I don't even think like when it comes to fun, it's like the structure decks. Like everyone just has the same thing. I don't think that's actually fun.
Yeah.
But the draft, like speed dual box
Where it's
things, those
where,
are
yeah,
those
like
are,
the
those
set's
are
like
fun.
curated to be very balanced and like very yeah, because I think like even with like lower tier decks nowadays, today's like low tier Yu-Gi-Oh decks can still kind of pop off when they're not
Yeah,
checked.
they have some combos in there
So
that'll
yeah, if
start
they go
doing
unchecked
things.
and there's no hand traps, like a low tier deck will pop off on you too. My Blue Eyes Chaos Max thing OTK'd you.
Yeah, because you put a monster in
Yeah.
defense.
So and like it's one turn, you're dead. So yeah, I sometimes do think that like maybe just battle pack and all that's like the only real
Fun.
fun. And that sounds so sad, like they were saying that. I don't know. What do people think? Like, do you guys feel that that's, is that like true for
Yeah,
you?
where do y'all draw the line of what's considered a fun deck? Like, what has to be involved or what has to be included or not
Yeah, what has to be
included?
excluded?
Yeah, for
to-
it to even be considered a fun duel or a fun time or a fun deck.
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But I would like to know. I mean, I think it varies from person to person. I think it varies from location to location, kind of setting to setting. Let us know. I'd like to know. We were struggling with it the other day, so we thought we'd
Yeah, talk
share our
about
woes. Nothing else?
it. Nothing enough for me.
All right. See you guys in the next one. Best turn.